Welcome to the Elements of Spirit for the week of September 10th, 2017. This is the reading for the element of air, which includes the sun signs of Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. If you haven't listened to the Ether reading, go back and watch that one now. Ether this week, the affirmation was, I am you, you are me, we are one. In this there is peace. It's all about inner violence, outer violence, inner storms, outer storms, and what can we do? We got to start by reminding ourselves that there is no difference between you and me, and that it's not that we caused the storms and the chaos and the war and all of that, but they're not disconnected. So, we are all in the same family, and the woman who's freaking out right now is our mom. So we're all in this together because we live on the same rock. Okay, so whoa. You guys, this is funny. Okay, sorry. Sorry, it's for you. So here's the message. Habitual face stabbing is not going to help you. It's selfish, solipsistic, and a distraction from what you're really pissed off about, which are your choices, not how those choices are received or seen. Okay, I mean when it comes, it. Okay, sorry. So in this case, I'm serving face in this because it's funny because I just gave like a kind of heavy message, and so I wanted my face to present it to you in a way that might make it a little more palatable. Ooh, it's kooky and not finger waggy. This is not from me. This is from the element. And the idea of face stabbing, they showed a dagger stabbing in your third eye, stabbing, piercing into your field of vision. And it's saying that like you're so busy poking holes in your own vision and authority, so busy poking holes in your own vision and authority that it causes you to look for approval, validation. All of those are strong words, validation, but what it really is asking, it's not even approval, validation. It's really just saying witness, see it, and receive it. So you're wanting it to land, but it's because you've in some ways dismantled your own authority over your vision, your what you see, what's there, and there's other stabs on the face because the face is what we present to the world. It's very much like how people get to process you for the first time, how people get to see you, process you, figure first impression, right? Face. I mean, you can lead with tits, but most of us lead with face. The nose, especially when you're Greek. But what they're saying here is that poking holes in how you're seen, the way you're presented, the way you present yourself, what's being seen, or poking holes in the way you see yourself and your own visual authority, it's really missing the point this week. It's talking about how the content is perceived as opposed to what the content really is. And what they're saying here is that what you're really trying to get to the bottom of is not what you see or how you see it or how you're seen. It's actually more about your choices. The choices you've made, the things you've done, the way in which you've done those things, which have gotten you to this point. And in the case of this read, and in the case of the it's connected to the ether reading in that your choices are what you do to move towards love. Your choices are, the crank. If your heart has cast a hook, like we talked about in the ether reading, if your heart has cast a hook into this space of love with another, either in a personal relationship or, in the more abstract love of the other, if your heart is trying, which it always is, to bring those two hearts together until we recognize that we're one and the same, if your heart's doing that, then the crank you use to turn the reel and bring those things closer are your choices. And those choices get made through time. And so if you think about it, if someone's really pissed off at, someone else for ruining their life or causing problems for them, if they perceive them as a threat, or if they perceive them as someone who needs violence to be perpetuated against them, or, it can be thought of as feeling some type of way because you're getting in the way of my crank. You're getting in the way of me doing what I need to do, of making the choices that I need to make, of moving forward in the way that I want to be moving forward. And that same crank, that same will is what, when it's left unchecked, can become completely crazy and, self-serving and maniacal. When you say, I'm going to crank my way all the way to the top at the expense of everyone and everything else. That's also not very holistic. It's not very considerate, but you do have a right to do that. It's just, if you do that and you set your sight on, what you want and don't give a good goddamn about whose skull you're stepping on along the way, you're gonna be giving others evidence for your feelings of difference. You're going to be going, I'm going to get there. I don't care who I harm. I don't care who I hurt. And so you will then create more situations for people, places, and things to create even greater dissonance, to create even more resistance for you, so it ends up just metastasizing in this really awful, insane way. And yet, this is what we're talking about. There's this impulse in you to kind of get to the bottom of something, to get to the bottom of how you're seen or how you're being seen, to have that vision which you may be lacking, that authority of vision which you may be lacking in yourself a bit right now, confirmed, and we go back to the beginning reading too, confirmed by those who are outside. So you're looking for your inner vision, but because you've been looking so hard, you are having to rely on others' sights, on others' perspectives, on others' visions. But the read this week is saying that's not really the place to be looking. Don't worry about how you're seen. Look at your own choices. Use your inner vision of authority to observe what you're not doing when you're stabbing yourself in the face. This is actually saying that you're trying to make balanced decisions. Balanced decisions, okay. Fun, here comes the affirmation. I plot. Okay. I plot my course. Yeah. I plot my course to excellence in the world. I plot my course to excellence in the world, with harm to none, and with total faith that this approach will benefit all. Okay? I plot my course to excellence in the world, with harm to none, and with total faith that this approach will benefit all. It's interesting. It was a little weird to get inside of that one because it felt kind of confining to me. It feels very specific. But I like it because it gives us that analogy of we're all still trying to go there. We're all still trying to leave our lives, our families, maybe hopefully the world, but at the very least ourselves in a better place than when we came in, or than whatever's happened to us has happened to us. The idea here is that this is not saying don't plot your course. It's just saying plot the course with the intention to harm no one. Without exception. It reminds me of certain faiths that are in constant prayer for all of the microbes and bacteria that they are crushing, and are praying constantly so as not to create excessive negative karma. But in this case, I plot my course to excellence in the world outside with harm to none. I'm not going to harm anyone out there. And with total faith that this approach will benefit all. So that total faith part, that this approach will benefit all, that this non-violent approach, I think it's ahimsa, non-violent approach to plotting my course to excellence, I have total faith that this approach will benefit us all. You might not feel that faith all the time, but if you use this kind of affirmation, you remind yourself that even if I'm not stepping on skulls, even if I'm not harming anyone, even if I'm not perpetuating violence in the world outside of me, I'm still going to be okay, and therefore I have no reason to perpetuate violence inside of myself. So I have no reason to say you're not going to get it, or maybe you should fight harder, or if you don't, there won't be enough, or push, okay? I plot my course to excellence in the world, with harm to none, and with total faith that this approach will benefit all. Thank you for your time. I'll see you next week.